Welcome to the Paint Your Path Life and Career Planning video podcast, the College and Career Exploration Show. I'm your host, Onisha Cook, and my mission is to educate, inspire, and empower Black people all over the world to create and navigate their pathway to success. As a college and career guidance coach, I will provide a platform where you will learn from Black professionals about various career pathways to include qualifications, salary, job descriptions, and occupational outlook. I will also provide you with the tools and resources to get started. If you're ready to plan the next chapter of your life, develop a post-secondary plan, or even change careers, you are definitely in the right place. Now let's get into the show. All right. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Paint Your Path, the College and Career Exploration Show. Today I have the pleasure of having on the show the one, the only, the photographer extraordinaire. She is a creator, she is an artist, she is innovative, and she is doing big things in the world of photography. And she's here to drop all the nuggets, y'all, on what it takes to become a photographer, okay? So please help me give a warm welcome to my girl, Natasha Coleman. Yay!
Yay! And the crowd goes loud.
Yes.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on the show.
I just have to start before we get into everything and just tell you how much I admire and respect what you're doing here. All the information you're collecting and resources you're finding for people out there to, start their paths. So I really, really appreciate you thinking of me and being a part of the work that you're doing. And I think you're doing awesome things.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. It really does. So we're going to go ahead and get right on into it, if you don't mind.
Nope.
Cool. So, there's so many things you can do with skills in photography. And so we're going to talk about, many of those things tonight. We have an audience of maybe students who are in high school who are figuring out what they want to do with the next chapter of their lives. Maybe adults who are considering a different career pathway, somebody who may be deciding to, make a little bit of extra money, who wants to learn a skill or a trade or start a business. So we're going to talk to that audience tonight, a wide range of people about, what it takes to become a photographer, what kind of special skills and interests one may have. And then we'll talk a little bit about the money, because the people want to know about the money. You know what I'm saying? And we'll just give them the low down dirty on the nuts and bolts of how to get into this field. Because, I work with students every day, and I hear a lot of students say that they want to go into the field of photography, and they're just not sure what is their niche, or which kind of photographer they want to be. So thank you for being on the show today. I'm sure that people who are out there listening are going to learn a great deal. So let's get into it. Tell us about the kind of work you do as a photographer.
As a photographer, well, I am the owner and operator of my own photography business. I specialize in lifestyle photography, which is kind of concentrates on people doing things. They're experiencing, they're active, they're not necessarily posed, right? We're kind of used to traditional portraits that we've seen in the past where, like at JCPenney, everybody's standing posed and looking at the camera, and which that's also, can go into, but I shoot lifestyle portraiture. So real life events, they're in situations. So that could look like if you're going to going on an outing or something, and I'm going with you as your photographer, I'm capturing the whole thing. So it's a little bit between portraits and like documenting is the best way to describe it.
Wow, that sounds amazing. So it sounds
Yeah.
like you're capturing those special moments for people. And that's what photographers do. They capture
Right.
special moments at events, or even if you're just sitting there, you have that special eye and you feel like this is a moment that I need to capture, and you pull out the camera
Exactly.
and capture it, right?
Yes. Yes.
That's awesome. So what led you to this particular career pathway? What made you want to become a photographer?
So first of all, for me, I've always really loved art. And whenever I was younger, I didn't really think of myself as an artist, even though I really appreciated art. I couldn't draw, things perfectly, or, paint things perfectly. And so I just kind of, um, just took on the, label that I'm not an artist because I can't do these things. And so taking pictures was for me a way that I could create art. Um, and it just took the pressure off of, trying to create something that I had in my mind made, like, this is how art is supposed to look. So that's how it kind of began. And so I just started documenting my life, just, everyday situations where places I've traveled, people, the people I love. Um, and it wasn't until my daughter was born and my husband and I had recently moved. And so I was looking for something that would allow me to be, flexible, to be home with her. So it wasn't until then that I really took it to the, this is going to be my career. Went to school and got my associate's degree in photography, and then I've been doing this since. So I've been very fortunate that it's not that my main income, like it's a supplemental income. And so haven't had too much pressure in making sure that I make a certain amount. So that's been nice. But yeah, so it just was very flexible for me over the years of being a mom and, working from home. So
Mm-hmm. Sounds like if you're a business owner and you're a photographer, you have flexibility in your schedule. And so that's
yeah.
a part of it.
Hmm.
Yeah. So tell me what for those who are interested in becoming full-time photographers, um, what kind of I heard you mention that you had an associate degree. Uh, what kind of courses would they need to take in school to get an associate degree to become a photographer and to make a living out of it?
Yeah. So you, with any degree in photography, associate's degree or bachelor's degree, you really are exposed to different types of photography. I took things like photojournalism. I took things like studio lighting, creative composition. It ranged from setting up your photos to lighting your photos. So you're really learning how to use your camera in different situations with different lighting, and just the elements of design, elements of an art, a piece of art.
Mm-hmm.
So you would take your general classes, but then upon finishing those, then you would build you would specialize in your photography. So you're exposed to all the photography genres, and yeah, you're doing projects, you're shooting constantly, and you're mastering your skills.
Mm-hmm. So if we had students who were in high school who were considering photography, uh, what kind of courses would you recommend they take while in high school? I know like at my high school, we offer, media, we offer yearbook, where students have to go to events and take pictures of events and then write articles and stuff like that. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, what kind of classes do you
those
think?
are perfect. Yeah, those would be definitely recommended. If they have an actual photography class, that's also, ideal. I know not every school offers that, but that's a really good class to take, especially ones that are offering film as well as digital, because then you're learning the entire scope of photography, right? Like how it started out, you're learning the process, and then so it's reinforcing then what you're going to learn as a digital photographer. And so I would definitely recommend photography if you can. If not, I think yearbook is perfect because then you're out there shooting. Also, really any art class, to be honest with you, because even with art classes, you are learning elements of design. You're learning composition. You're learning, positive and negative spaces and form and line and all of those things you do use when you're shooting. So they're all intertwined. So I would definitely recommend art for sure. And if you decide that you're thinking that maybe you want to go into the business of photography, owning your own business, then something, like a business class or anything like that to kind of help you with those types of skills as well, because
Mhm.
they're all used.
Absolutely. So man, you just dropped a lot of nuggets there. Thank you. So for the student who, wants to go into, so you're a lifestyle photographer. So for
Mhm,
someone who's interested in becoming a lifestyle photographer or just a photographer in general, can you
mhm.
when you're shooting with a client, can you tell us what your day is like from setup to set down, or even from booking the appointment all the way in through finishing with your photo session? What is that like?
Yeah.
Look like?
Yeah. So it's definitely a process. And you really have to enjoy people. I think you really have, because you're working with them, from start to finish. It's really a collaboration. It's not necessarily just customer service, really. Like you're really working with whoever it is that hired you, because they have a vision in mind, you have a vision in mind, and you guys are you're just collaborating that those ideas together. And I would say from start to finish, if I'm contacted by a potential client, immediately I'm, responding via email, phone, or, social media, whatever way that they contacted me, I'm responding. And right away, I'm asking them what they're looking for to make sure that, I'm the right person for them. So a lot of times I'll have people who who would like a studio photographer. And so right away, I can let them know that's not what I do, and refer them to someone else, or, just in the right direction. Right. And so that's the first thing. And then we start talking about pricing, and just to make sure that and I send them my website as well to make sure that they like my style, because that's another thing. Not every photographer is for everyone. You really do have to present what you do, and that's how people choose you. So, because sometimes not everybody knows to do that you can look around and see if, whichever style works for you. Sometimes it's just a photographer takes pictures and like that's the thing, right? But it's more than that. And so once we figure out we're going to work together, then we just start collaborating, and I'm just, asking questionnaires. I ask them to send me a mood where they can give me actual visual examples of what they, had in mind. asking about their family, what kinds of things they like to do, because those questions give me information to help choose a place, choose an activity, those types of things to, help create their images. And then as well as what they're wearing, kind of like their fashion wardrobe consultant.
Wow, you do it all.
And
So you're
and
advising them on, excuse me, you're advising them on what to wear, maybe color coordinate or not,
yes,
depending on the
yeah,
setting and all that good stuff.
right, right. And then we do our shoot, which is usually, a few hours. And that's doing whatever the activity or being at the location wherever we decided. And we're just kind of hanging out. I mean, because I know the location and what they're wearing already, I kind of have an idea of shots that I might want to try. And aside from that, really, it's just letting what happens happen. Being a photographer, you kind of have to anticipate what you think might happen based off of what you're seeing. So that's a big part of what I do. And once we're done with the shoot, then, we're still in communication. I'm, thanking them for hiring me, for our experience. And then it goes to delivering the images. I'll go home and I'll edit and present them with a gallery. And from there, delivering their images.
Wow. So it's a full blown out process. So it's not just
Yeah.
it's just it takes a while once you get booked all the way from start
Yeah,
to finish. It's a full process.
right.
Mm-hmm.
It is. It depending on how long they book you, how far out they book you. I mean, really, it could be like, I mean, from the shoot to like delivering images, it varies between photographers, but I try to keep it at about 2 weeks for turnaround time. But if you've been booked however many months in advance, you're in communication with them until you're delivering images. And so you get to know who you're working with.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So what's the best part of your job? What's your favorite part of being a photographer?
Favorite part is hard, but I would say I really enjoy getting to know people. I feel like this career has allowed me to do that, which I already enjoy doing that. So it's kind of been a tool for me to do that more. And, I come in contact with people that, I might not have ever met before, you know what I mean, had they not been looking for a photographer. And being able to work together, and on that shoot day, you're exchanging energy with them. And I just really feel like it's definitely a connection that you make, and I value it. And I mean, it might even be way more weighted on my end. I'm like staring at their face for 2 weeks while I'm editing and stuff, so I'm like, I know them.
Well,
I think that's probably my favorite.
awesome. Well, I've had the Natasha Coleman experience, and I can tell you it is truly one that you will never forget. You're a truly talented photographer.
No,
So,
thank you.
and there's also other types of photographers that we briefly mentioned, but I kind of want to go back over them. Can we talk a little bit about photojournalists? So you're a lifestyle journalist, but when we're talking about, I'm sorry, portrait journalists, what's the difference between what exactly is a portrait journalist? What do they do for those who are interested?
So photojournalism is more documenting. So they are taking images as is. There is less, and this is why I was saying like it's very much a mix of documenting and like lifestyle photography is. because photojournalism is closer to just documenting. And they are at, you know, places, for example, like the news or, you know, real life events that are happening, and they are still using their composition and, you know, their artistic elements to take images, but they are not at all influencing what's happening at all. They're not suggesting, you know, to walk a certain direction or anything like that. They're just taking the photos as they are.
Okay. So if that would that be like if someone were at like a sporting event, so they got a 49er game or something like that, and they're just on the sideline capturing photos?
They would be more of a sports photographer. Yes.
Oh,
Like it would definitely be documenting. Yes.
okay. And then as far as a portrait photographer, let's talk a little bit about what a portrait photographer is. Do they particularly work for themselves, or do they usually work for a company?
They can do both. Yes, they can do both. So I could technically say I'm a portrait photographer as well, because I am taking pictures of people. I could also work for a company, you know, for I don't know, advertising, or even doing like headshots, for example. Like those are all examples of portraiture, because you're taking pictures of people.
Okay.
And those are not always posed, but most of the time the photographer is directing their subject, how they would like them to pose, basically. Yeah.
So like when we take, you know, photos at school pictures, are those considered portrait
Portraits.
photographers?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then what about the press photographer? The press photographer.
Press photographer is similar to photojournalists. They are out there working for the news, right? They're taking the images to go to support what news is coming out, and, you know, articles and stories and stuff like that.
So there's a variety of different, I guess, ways that anyone who's interested can enter a career pathway of photography. There's so many different settings that you can work in, so many different environments that you can work in. Sounds like you can work, you know, in landscape, you know, you can work outside, you can work in a studio, you know, you can go to events.
Right.
That's awesome for people who don't like to sit behind a desk all day and do the same thing. It sounds like you can mix it up a little bit.
Right. And even, you know, something that I never really considered while, you know, in my journey, in my photography journey, is I came across, it's called scientific photography. And so I was actually kind of intrigued by it. I don't know, I feel like I missed it. I totally missed it this whole time. But they are taking pictures of things with microscopes.
Oh, really?
So that so the things that they are, you know, that hospitals and, you know, scientists and things like that. So you could become a scientific photographer.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I know a really popular one as well is a wedding photographer. So
Yes.
that would that be along the same line as portraits or lifestyle? It kind of blends in all the different styles, right?
They do. And that's where you can set yourself apart from other photographers by finding or creating your own style, which could be a mix of all of the different types of photography. So I think that's why it's also important for you to, in your schooling, or your if you're choosing not to go to school and you're doing, you know, workshops or, you know, mentorships or apprenticeships, things like that, that you're exposing yourself to different genres of photography, so that you can figure out really what you enjoy and what you might want to add to your own, you know, tool belt of photography style. The
Absolutely.
photography style tool belt.
That's important. That's important to have as many tools as you can in your photography tool belt. That's so important, right? And so, as we wrap it up, I know the people want to know, about how much money can you make in the world of photography. I know that it's wide open. The sky's the limit when you own your own business. But just
No, it
kind of give
really,
us a
really is.
range of what the package is, doing some lifestyle photography. What is kind of the range of a full package? What would that look like for you to spend a day with someone at their event?
Just that, well, I mean, really depends. Like you said, it depends on where you're located. It depends on, if it's really popular in your area, maybe the prices are a little lower. I don't, it really does depend.
Mhm.
Because photographers who own their own business, they're varying their prices. And so um, it could be, salary wise in the, low thousands all the way up to six figures. It depends on what you're doing because if you're going to do like family lifestyle portraiture, you're not going to charge you maybe will at some point, but starting out, you're not going to charge, $1,000, for your session if you're spending a few hours together with them, but you would charge over 1,000 for a wedding. So it really depends on where you fall with your genre. But it varies with family portraiture, anywhere from like 200 to 1,000 I've seen, depending on what all is included as well. Like you could have someone spend an entire day with you, and so spending more hours might make the price go up. Or you could have mini sessions happening, and so that's, less money, it's cut in half. So it really does vary. But I looked it up because I, was curious. Well, between like 50 and, $75,000, kind of depending on where you're at. So um, you can make a pretty good amount, with
Absolutely.
with portraiture, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And
Mhm.
also, there was over 120,000 jobs in photography in the U.S. alone in 2020, and it's projected to grow by 17% between now and 2030. And so, there's going to
Mm.
be a lot of jobs opening in this field. Um, there's places where you can go and get some education and training to become a photographer. There's classes that if you're interested, you can take and get a certificate in photography or a
Mm.
degree, as you
Mhm.
mentioned, a 2-year degree,
Mhm.
or you can move on and get a 4-year degree.
Mhm.
There's lots of opportunities out there for anyone who's interested in becoming a photographer. So
Yes.
as we wrap it up, Natasha, are there any parting words that you would want to say to the aspiring budding photographer?
The budding photographer, I would tell them, if this is something that you're very passionate about, I would just say you will get out from it what you put into it. And so if you are spending time with your craft, you are shooting all the time, personally and professionally, you'll be fine. You really will be fine. It takes some time to build your portfolio. It takes a little bit of time for you to get your name out there. But just if you're trying to build your portfolio, ask your family and friends to, do some of the things that you have in your head, and they will tell their family and friends, and then it just kind of grows from there. And don't be afraid to ask other photographers for help, I would say. um,
Mm,
Even though it seems like they wouldn't be open to helping. I mean, we've all been there, and we me personally and anybody that I've reached out to, honestly, has I've been received so well, like, they've been so helpful. Um, find a community that really will help you just stay on track and, continue to grow in your journey.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for those nuggets. Um, you know, why don't you tell the people how they can find you? How can they get in touch with you? And by
Oh,
telling us about your website and also telling us about how to find you on social media.
social media. Okay, so my website is just my name. It's www.natashacolemanphotography.com. Just my name. Um, there is where you can find me and on my website. But my social media for Instagram is, I think it's at Natasha underscore Coleman. And I'm on Facebook. I use Instagram more, but Facebook is just the same, Natasha Coleman Photography. So, I mean, if you Googled it, it would pop up somehow.
So you heard her, natashacolemanphotography.com. You can contact her through her website. You can view some of her amazing work there. She has all kind of pictures posted there of her amazing work. And you can also find her on her Instagram handle. Okay. We're going to wrap it up. That concludes tonight's episode of Paint Your Path, the College and Career Exploration Show. Thank you, Natasha Coleman, for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Please like, share, and subscribe. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm going to put some information about some training resources in the comments section below. So for those of you who are interested, yeah, we're going to hook you up. All right. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching this week's episode of Paint Your Path, the College and Career Exploration Show. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you next time.